Welcome again to ECTV Live, and I am so proud to be here again with my co-host, David the Cosmo. You know, David, I was thinking about how lucky we are to have this show with Mark McGlory at the camera helping us out. He helped, no matter what we ask him to do, he does it. And Mark's an assistant who works with him also.
Yeah, Anthony George, and these are the guys that do the technical things, the guys that you don't see in front of the camera that keep us in front of the camera and on the air. So we're obviously happy to have their assistance. Got a great guest today too, Judge?
Oh, we have a great guest. Nikki Barber, head of, you call it Leadership Lackawanna.
Correct.
And I think that's a great title. Nikki, believe me, I know what good you do in the community.
Thank you.
And it was David's idea to have you here. And David David's been my colleague for many years, and I'm so proud to work with him. But tell us about Leadership Lackawanna, and then we're going to ask you some questions.
Sure. We are a nonprofit organization. We're under the Chamber's umbrella, but we are a separate nonprofit. We started in 1982. Our main purpose is leadership development for emerging professionals. So we've been having a class every year. The classes are 10 months long, and in total we have approximately 900 alumni.
Of Leadership Lackawanna.
Yeah, it's a great program.
And Dave, I just want to say that maybe 15 years ago, I was asked to speak to the Leadership Lackawanna class, and it made me so proud that they even asked me to speak. And what a bunch of very bright people who you had in your class. Well, you weren't, I don't know if you were there, you were too young to be there 15 years ago. But you're probably in grade school. But anyway.
Where do they come from? You say class. We associate that with students, but these are not students.
These are not students. Employers pay tuition and send their employees to Leadership Lackawanna. So it's a big investment by the employer. But the whole reason is they send them to this 10-month leadership development program. So when they graduate, they have 10 new skill sets. And they're a better employee. They're better for the company. They're more, they have enhanced community skills. They have better networking skills, and just all around a better person because of this program.
So what sort of, give us an example of some of the corporations that have sent people to your leadership operation.
Sure. We have some veterans: Keystone College, Lackawanna College, PNC Bank, CMC Hospital, Moses Taylor. This year we have some unique ones. We have some small nonprofits, Nunzi's Advertising Specialties. Great guy, he's paying himself to come to this program. We have somebody from Home and Health Care. She does at-home health services for elderly. We also have a lawyer in this year's program. We have a girl that works for a trucking company, McLean Trucking. Really diverse group of people. It's not what you would typically think. It's not, it's hard to explain because it's such a unique group of people from all aspects of different, businesses and nonprofits and organizations. But that's what makes leadership the cool program that it is, because it's got such a nice mix of people.
Must they be executives from the company they're coming from?
Nope. Leadership, there's actually two versions of leadership, but the one that I'm here to talk about today is the one for emerging professionals, and that's the 10-month program. So it's a 10-month program with the Community Service Project, and that's for anyone who feels they're an emerging professional. On the other side, we do a 5-week executive program, and that one is only for people of executive level positions. That one is run 5 consecutive Tuesday evenings. It's very small. It's only 10 executives with a spouse or a guest. Totally different ballpark. Really valuable, but apples and oranges. But the 10-month program is kind of the baby. That's the one that's been around since '82. It's had the bigger impact, and that's the one that does the community service projects. And luckily, leadership is so well known because of all these great service projects we've been doing, and that's the 10-month program.
But Nikki, when you say 10 months, I know you meet. How many students in the class, first of all?
On average, 30 to 35.
Okay, and you meet what? Is it once every week or once every 2 weeks?
Once every month. So we
Once
meet
a
a
month.
full Thursday, the second Thursday of every month, 8:30 to 4, and we are jam-packed with events speakers, breakouts, group projects. We tour things. We recently just toured the 500 block. Don Rinaldi gave us a great tour of the condos upstairs, and then we went in the back and saw the alley and the park and the elevator. We've been up to Carbondale. We toured the 911 dispatch center up in Jessup. So our days are packed, and every single day is different. It's hard to give you a typical day in Leadership Lackawanna because we fill it with, like I said, activities, handouts, speakers. We do a lot of like icebreaker games, leadership, team building, trust, even some trust games to make the class unite.
Is this primarily to try to get them aware of what's available in the community or how things work?
Yeah, probably if I had to sum it up, I would say the purpose of Leadership Lackawanna is to further engage the person. So you want the skills, but also we are here to make you better familiarized with your community, networking and knowing the place that you live and work. Because one of the prerequisites is you have to either live or work in Lackawanna County. But we want you to be kind of like a cheerleader ambassador for Lackawanna County. So when you're done, you can say, I did this, this, and this because of Leadership Lackawanna.
Well, my question is, well, first of all, if let's say, for instance, a young lawyer or a young doctor wants to join Leadership and they wanted to pay their own.
Yeah.
Is it a secret how much money it is, or could you say on the air how
Yeah,
much?
no. Last year the tuition was $950, but because of the economy and the way things are changing, and we actually did some research, and we were one of the lesser expensive programs in the area compared to, say, Leadership Wilkes-Barre. So to help our budget and to be more competitive, we increased tuition to $1,200, and I was a little nervous about doing it, but we had 31 applications. We are full. We are completely full. So I was nervous for no reason at all because we're going to have an incredible class.
When does the class start?
September to June. Yep, we just finished our interviews and our application process. All of the letters are going out this week. So by Friday, if you've been accepted into Leadership Lackawanna class of 2011, you'll know.
That's a great, a great service, David.
And each year you have a community service project. And this year you've got a project that updates a section of Scranton that has been around for a long time. And that is Hanlon's Grove, which is a part of one of the parks, right? Give us some background. Before we talk about what you're going to do with it, what you're doing with it, give us a little history about Hanlon Grove.
Yeah, I think you all know that Mayor Hanlon, back in the day, was a great mayor here in the city of Scranton.
He was the last four-term mayor of the city of Scranton. He was actually elected as mayor 4 terms.
Yeah. See, I didn't even know that. But there was a grove in Naog Park called Hanlon's Grove. I actually have a really neat picture from an original postcard. It's a little blurry because it's circa 1952, I believe. But
Judge,
this is what.
Hold that
hand
for
it
the
over.
camera.
That is what the Hanlon's Grove used to look like back in 1952. So there was walkways with pods, picnic pods, and a looking glass ball in the middle. Over time, Hanlon's Grove kind of got dilapidated, and the grove disappeared. I think you might be familiar, a couple years back they built an amphitheater tent, a big white amphitheater tent, and unfortunately because of heavy winter snow the tent collapsed.
That was the Valentine's Day snowstorm that also caused some tremendous damage to a similar structure on Montage Mountain.
Yeah.
But in the case of the one in the park in Hanlon Grove, that was really deemed to be unfixable after a period of time. So in other words, it evolved from a picnic grove into a stage and theatrical area for a while. And after that snowstorm, and the structure had to be taken down, I guess really you had an area that was pretty much wrecked.
Yeah, this is what it looked like. After they cleared out the tent, it was a blighted parking lot. pretty much. A dirt lot, completely blighted, very, in my opinion, just unattractive, not what you would expect in a beautiful park like Naog.
Yes, and at a time when Naog Park was in the midst of a renaissance of its own, where the park was totally being retrofitted, as it were, or upgraded.
Right, there's some
So
great
here you had that one
things.
section that was
Right. I mean, we've got the Kanjorski Bridge, we've got the tree house, we've got the playground, the Schimmelfeld Pavilion, the pool, and then this really...
Tree house named after David
David
Wenzel, one
Wenzel.
of my closest friends.
Yeah,
Who's
David.
going to appear on our show. I think it's Memorial Day.
Memorial Day. Yes, yes.
But yeah, so we had just a nasty area, and the mayor, Mayor Doherty, approached Leadership Lackawanna and said, I hear you do community service projects. I have an idea for a project. Can you recreate Hanlon's Grove?
Taking it back to its
Taking
origins.
it back, exactly. We want you to recreate what used to be there in the 50s.
And I think Mayor Doherty has vision. That's why, and he loves the parks.
He does love
I
Naog.
I ride through Naog Park, David, and Nikki at Christmas. I see all the lights. It's just so beautiful. It really is.
Yeah,
And
but restoring something like this isn't a matter of just putting up some picnic benches.
No, to be honest, it got a little. It was a little bigger than what we thought. We had a vision, and it was about this big, and it's opening on Saturday, and the vision is now this big.
Where did you start?
We started with using a local architect, and right here in the front, we have a rendering. So that was the first step. We hired an architect. He went up and he measured, and he created this beautiful rendering. And from the rendering, our group finally started to feel like this is manageable. We can do this. And this rendering has kind of been our baby the whole time, because every time we get frustrated or we think like, can we do this? Are we going to run out of money? Or, the dirt hasn't arrived. There's no mulch. We're out of mulch. Our tree just died. We look at the rendering, and the rendering is gorgeous, and we know that we can make this happen. So we have 5 picnic pods. Each one is a concrete pad, a handicap accessible picnic table on top with a stone platform and 2 grills and a garbage can. So they're all identical, and then there is a crushed stoned pathway that goes around. There are trees, shrubbery all along the back, ferns all along the side, raspberry bushes all in the back corner. And in the middle is a gorgeous green space, and there's something really cool. This is a progress picture. You can see the walkway, and you can see the green. We use sod for the middle and seed for the perimeter. And every time you go up there and you start to see more and more progress, just like that feeling inside, thinking like, I'm going to accomplish this. We are going to accomplish this. It's incredible. And then the newest addition to our family, and this was recently in the Scranton Times, we had 2 850-pound concrete turtles delivered to Hanlon's Grove, and they were placed actually in the middle where that sod is. The sod is now all complete, and our turtles are sitting right inside the sod looking at our beautiful grove. And this will be great for families and children. The children can climb on them, sit on them, get their pictures taken with them. But these are our pet turtles that live in Hanlon's Grove, so we're really proud of these cute little turtles. But I was up there last week. We did a walkthrough with Parks and Rec and Mayor Doherty, and it is about 97% complete.
That's wonderful.
It's looking gorgeous, and this weekend is the grand opening, and absolutely thrilled.
What time?
It's this Saturday, and it is at 10 a.m. We're going to have a large tent, and then under the tent, we're going to have free refreshments for everybody, coffee, juice, water, Danish. We're going to have some remarks from myself, some of the project members that helped, because obviously this was not done alone. There are some key aspects or key people that helped make this a reality. One that pops out, Ashley Fetterman from Lackawanna College, Rocco Genovese from Lackawanna County. He actually is a county official. And then Elizabeth Ryder, who used to work for the Chamber of Commerce, but recently relocated to Boston. And she's coming back home for our grand opening. But 3 people instrumental. There's been plenty others, and I feel bad that I can't name anyone, but those 3 have been incredible. So we're going to have some remarks. The mayor has some remarks. We've got our rendering. We're going to cut a ribbon, and then we're all going to walk down into Hanlon's Grove.
Now, I have to ask, the leadership class, the members in the class, you tackle this responsibility. You say you've got this park, this picnic area, you want it restored.
Right.
Their involvement in terms of this project, are they charged with raising money to get it done? Are they charged with coming down and spreading some of the mulch that you talked about? How does that work?
Absolutely. I was one of those girls digging holes for the trees, covered in mulch. I had blisters, and I thought, I am never digging another hole in my life. But yes, they get this project assigned to them in September, and they are given free will to complete the project. So they are responsible for the fundraising, and this team did fabulous. They raised approximately $53,000 of in-kind and actual cash donations. It helped pay for, the wood for the picnic tables, some of the shrubbery, the crushed stone, the sod. We had a landscaper come in and help us, and he picked what he thought would be the best plants and shrubs and trees. Some of the markers we have made, they're being put in this week. There's called a Friends of Hanlon's Grove sign or a marker. Any of our big contributors like Prudential, P&G, the Bricklayers Union, Leadership Lackawanna, they each have signs, and they'll go next to each of the picnic pods. So we had to pay for the signage. We have a program booklet, a banner, great stuff.
Nikki, let me ask you a question about Leadership Lackawanna proper. Now, for instance, every time you have speakers, who chooses the speakers? Do you choose the speakers?
Yep, I'm the sole administrator. I'm the only paid employee by Leadership Lackawanna. I do have a board of 30, and out of that board, we have a small program committee, and the program committee does help me create the curriculum for each of the 10 sessions. Yes.
And you choose speakers based on the students that you have, because they're from all different walks of life,
Right.
I'm sure.
And we also try to theme the 10 sessions, which makes it a little bit easier. So for instance, the one session is crime and corrections. That's the one where we go to the prison, to 911, to the county courthouse. We sat in on a session of Judge Brace, his court. We also go to see a gang awareness presentation. There's another session that's on media relations, interpersonal communication, project management, history and heritage, which we work closely with LHVA. We got to go to the coal mine, so that was neat. Everhart Museum, you'd be surprised. Some of the people in my class had never stepped inside the Everhart. And they're local, but it's kind of like that hidden gem in your backyard, and you just don't go. But yeah, every session is different, so 10 different skill sets and 10 different, it's kind of hard, to be honest. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, trying to plan 10 unique sessions and finding speakers and activities that match the themes of the 10 sessions. It's a lot of work.
You know, David, I could say something about Steamtown. I know a lot of local people who've lived here all their lives. They've never been to Steamtown
Oh, what a
since
treasure.
Joe McDade got the money to put
What a
Steamtown
treasure.
here. People have never visited Steamtown.
You've got to see it. I did one of our People, Places, and Things
Right.
episodes over there, and it's really amazing. I want to get back to the sessions that you're just talking about, though, Nikki. The sessions don't then necessarily blend with the project.
Right. They do get a little bit of time at each session. They get usually 45 minutes at each session to break out into their projects and to work on some group project time. But realistically, it can't be done during the workday. So these group members are responsible for meeting outside of session time. They meet at nights, weekends. like for instance, we got together one day at 4:30 and dug holes for the trees. I know that on Saturday, Rocco was up there physically planting 20 blackberry and raspberry bushes. So these people give up an extraordinary amount of time to complete these projects because they have the sessions and then they have to go above and beyond and do the community service.
And the community service is the project is the thing that we would notice, of course,
Yes.
as we check on leadership. What other sorts of projects, for instance, give me an example of a couple of the others that various other leadership groups have done in the past couple years?
Yeah, 2 years ago, we restored Schimmelfig Pavilion, which is up by the pool in Naog Park. We also did a great project at McDade Park, where the Cancer Survivors Memorial needed a little bit of help. This was also recently in the news. Needed a little bit of help. The weather, northeastern Pennsylvania's weathers are tough, and started to destroy the tiles and the spears. So we ended up taking them down, using the tiles to make this beautiful mosaic, put in new pavers, benches, landscaping. So that was recently done up at Naog Park, or I'm sorry, McDade Park.
Yes.
Last year we did some great work with Scola Literacy. This year we also are working on another project with Habitat for Humanity, and it's kind of like a phase 2 to Habitat. So when you first have your Habitat home built for you, we come in, this is a brand new program, 5 years later down the road, and we come in and spruce up your Habitat home. And we call it A Brush with Kindness. So that's a project we're doing right now as well. In collaboration with Habitat, Brush for Kindness, we have one home, it's down in Southside, it's a single mother, and we're going to be doing some basic painting, some porch repairs, window replacements, and some landscaping. So I have another team of leadership students that are working on that project as
Really
well.
sounds like a win-win situation.
It's
for
great.
The community.
It really is great.
What kind of feedback do you get? Now, I know you've only been there a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of feedback do you get from the employers after their representatives have gone through this?
Honestly, it's absolutely incredible feedback. We do evaluations, and we also do some one-on-one phone calls to follow up, and they see the improvement. I mean, in addition to the skills, which I want to talk about skills because it is skill-based, but really the meat of the program is the community service project, which you both get. And what makes me realize that apparently it's working and that they're happy is they send somebody the next year. So if they didn't think their employee benefited from the program, if they didn't see the change, if they didn't see the community involvement, if they didn't see the increased networking skills, they wouldn't send somebody the following year. And I am so lucky that I have such a strong base of supporters that send people year after year after year. I know that leadership is doing a good job.
You sound so enthused about your job. I'm sure you sound like you love your job.
I do. It's a really neat job. It's almost like event planning, almost like hands-on community work. I'm also exposed to 30 different people every year, so I'm getting to meet a lot of people in my job, but I'm making a difference. We're all making a difference. And I think in life, sometimes things get a little too serious. And you need to have fun, you need to make a difference, and projects like Hanlon's Grove capture that so completely well.
Do you have after the students finish their 10-month period, because we're almost out of time, we have a few minutes left, do you have a graduation? And
Definitely.
Do you have a speaker at the graduation?
Definitely.
And where do you hold the ceremony?
Graduation is held at Lackawanna College, up on the reception hall. They're one of our great sponsors, along with Mohegan Sun. And we have a graduation. We have about 150 people that come to graduation. Every participant that goes through leadership gets a framed certificate. It's a gorgeous mahogany wood frame with the embossed Leadership Lackawanna logo. So they get a certificate. They also get a Leadership Lackawanna business card holder. And my vice chair of the board, Mark Volk, who is VP at Lackawanna College, he will be the one addressing the students students, participants, and presenting them with their certificates of completion. And also at graduation, they do a quick little recap of their year, so their experience of leadership, in addition to highlighting on the project and how they've completed the project and what leadership has done to impact their life. So the groups get up and talk at graduation too. But it's a gorgeous event, sums up the year. This year, graduation is set for the end of June. So I'm looking forward to it.
David, it sounds like what an idea.
Well, again, I think it's a win-win situation. We take a look again at this rendering, and Nikki, I guess, in essence, what we see when we look at this rendering, maybe not exact to scale, is what people are going to see this week when they go up to Naog Park as of Saturday.
This Saturday.
So that empty lot after the infamous Valentine's Day snowstorm, the Valentine's Day massacre, will become this beautiful setup. And I just think that's great when you can take these people from various industries and businesses. They can learn to care about more about their community, but then give to the community in the way of these projects. I think that again is just a super thing for all of us. And I'm kind of wondering, like, what's next? You know, where do you go next year? What's the next project? You thinking about those already?
A little bit, yeah. That's more of a summer task for me. But there's going to be a pretty cool project, if we cross our fingers, Scranton Car 324. Are you familiar with that? Down at the Trolley Museum. It's one of the original trolley cars that actually ran here in Scranton, Car 324.
That the one that was a diner, or part of a diner, I believe, something like that?
I think. Well, they found it, and it's being restored. We're going to do something with Car 324,
wow.
So stay tuned on 324.
Well, I will stay tuned. I might have been on it. I'm so old. But anyway, you know, it's you know, what you're doing for the community is just wonderful. And I've always been a fan of leadership Lackawanna. Ever since I've been here. I was practicing law for 30-some years before I was a judge. But it's a great accomplishment, David, for Lackawanna County.
But we may assume that there are some business people watching us that perhaps are not as aware as to all the specifics. They may know about the community project, but not all the other things. Anybody interested, how do they get involved?
Yeah, probably the best way would be to visit our website, leadershiplackawanna.com. It has everything you could need to know, plus all my contact information. But leadershiplackawanna.com.
Will there always be class openings, or are you kind of restricted?
It's kind of restricted. We do accept applications. The period right now is closed. Applications are closed. We are accepting 31 into next year's class, and they'll start in September. Last year, we actually had a waiting list. There were people turned down.
So
this year, we squeezed in exactly 31.
If anyone's interested, then you best check that website out as quickly as possible and get your application in for next time around.
And that'll be for next year's class.
Right, that would be the class of 2012.
That's amazing. Well, it's so nice to see that, David, in our community. David, I just got a notice that we're out of time, so I have to wrap the show up. But this is Tom Munley again on behalf of my co-host, David DeCosmo, who's been my friend for so many years. And Nikki Barber, you're really a credit to Lackawanna County and to Lackawanna leadership. I could feel how enthused you are. I even got that feeling just listening to you talk.
Thank you.
And I want to say that David and I will be following your leadership Lackawanna, right, David?
Absolutely. Be very interested.
And I hope you can come on Saturday. It's completely free, open to the public. Grand opening, ribbon cutting celebration, 10 a.m., Naog Park.
Sounds great. Nikki, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. And this is Tom Munley on behalf of my co-host, David DeCosmo, saying thanks for watching ECTV Live, and we'll see you again soon.